welcome to another edition of Broad Mind, where we explore the minds of writers, authors, and beyond. I'm your host, T.L. Rotkiewicz. Today's guest is Shawn Flynn, a reader's favorite 2017 award-winning author and a finalist in both the 2017 Best Book Awards and the 2017 International Book Awards. Shawn Flynn spent over 25 years in a market research career before he stepped away to pursue his passion for writing. He knew he wanted to explore his deep connection with cats, particularly the first cat he ever rescued. He also volunteers with the local cat rescue group, Enfield Community Cat Project. And I'm happy to welcome you, Shawn.
Thanks for having me on your program today, Tracy.
Thanks. I want to get to the beginning, and I want to ask you, at what age did you realize you wanted to become a writer?
Well, that's an interesting question. I've actually written my whole life. Of course, I worked in corporate America for many years, writing business documents and research reports and things like that. So I've written my whole life, but I actually never wrote something like this. A book, something from my heart. And about a year and a half or so ago, I decided that I wanted to, I've had this story in my head for years about the love affair I have with my cats. And about a year and a half ago, I decided that I wanted to take some time to document my thoughts and my feelings and the impact my cats have had on me.
Yeah.
So I decided to put these words on paper, and I didn't write my original manuscript to get it published as a book, but rather just to document my thoughts and my feelings. I shared it with some of my close friends and family members, and that they were really touched by the story, and they're the ones who actually encouraged me to see if I could get it made into a book.
Wow.
So that's, I haven't thought since I was a kid I wanted to be a writer.
Yeah.
It's kind of something I fell into.
Yeah.
And so far it's been working out pretty well. So.
Yeah. That's good. Considering that you wrote about your cat, a lot of people have asked me, where do you get your inspiration from? Well, for those who want to write, here's your inspiration, your own pet. Where else can you find the passion other than through learning through them, the good times, the bad times, everything that goes along with it. And I got to tell you, being a pet owner myself, actually I have 4 guinea pigs right now, but I first started in '86, and I can remember the whole entire day when, until the point that my mom presented me with a little shopping spree over at the Enfield Square Mall. And at that time, we didn't have the animal pet rescue things or whatever, but I was super, super shocked when it happened. And thing is, I don't think I could write a whole entire book about my guinea pig ownership, but I don't know how you do it.
Well, it's I banged out my initial manuscript in just a few weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I sat down, and as I said, I've had this story in my head for years. I just sat in front of my computer, and I just started writing and started, or typing, and, my initial manuscript wasn't obviously in book format. It wasn't organized like it is now, and it was just my thoughts, and I just kept typing and typing and typing, and until I thought I had a good story. And once again, I did it. I didn't do it to publish it as a book. I just did it because I wanted to document my thoughts and my feelings.
I was going to ask you, since you wrote about your kitty, first one, you didn't document with the everyday things that happen, or just you took your so-called greatest hits of what happened in his life?
Well, it's actually a great story. When I moved to the house that I currently live in, he was living in the backyard. According to my next door neighbor, he had been living there for 2 or 3 years. And I guess he was living off mice and birds, and a neighbor might have been feeding him, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I met him 2 months before I moved into that house when I was walking through the backyard with the realtor. And, he came over and rubbed up against my leg, and he was real friendly. And, he was obviously, he wasn't a feral cat. He was obviously had been someone's pet at some point.
Right.
But I moved into that house 2 months later. I moved in on a Saturday morning. I got home from work on Monday night, about 6 o'clock, and he was sitting on the front step like he was waiting for me to get home. And it's just such a great story of how he came into my life and the impact he had on me, and how having him in my life helped me through a difficult time. It ended up leading to me rescuing numerous other cats after I first rescued him, and now I have 4 cats. I have a household full of cats. Four seems like a household to me anyway.
Well, you never know. Would you consider him your guardian angel?
It's an interesting question. I never thought about that. But he certainly had a real important impact on me, and I developed a relationship with him that I don't even have with most human beings.
Yeah.
So I care more about my cats more than I do most people. So, but he had a real strong, important impact on my life. So that's why I wanted to document that by writing my story.
Yeah, because some people I've come across, even though they have pets, they're like, well, it's just a cat. It's just a dog, there's no feelings that go along with it. It's like, how can you say that?
Yeah,
they're part of the family. That's
absolutely,
and
absolutely
they,
family.
They
members.
look at you funny, like, really? It's just a pet. No.
It kind of boils my blood when I hear people say that. That's just a cat, or it's just a dog. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Yeah. So, but he had a real strong impact on my life, and that's why I wrote the book. And it's been it's been doing real well, as you mentioned. I've won some awards for it.
Yes, and congratulations on that too.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the Reader's Favorite Award, and I was a finalist in the International and Best Book Awards competitions, and it's been I've been getting requests for interviews like this interview.
Yeah.
I've a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was in the weekend edition of the Journal Inquirer, which was something that was real exciting. Wow. It was a full page article about me and my book.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool. I've been getting a lot of other recognition. Actually, my email address is in the back of the book. I've received emails from people all over the world who have read my book and were really touched by the story.
Wow.
So that's pretty exciting, and we're just working hard trying to promote it and getting the word out about it.
I think I read that you were included in the list, I think, of 2017 books published by, was it Carol Goldberg?
That's right, yeah. I'm frequently...
Congrats on that one, too.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm frequently...
Making waves.
I'm frequently mentioned in her weekend column. She often, or I should say always, posts where I'm going to be that weekend.
Yeah.
I've been going all around the state doing book signings at Barnes & Noble bookstores and other bookstores, independent bookstores.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a number of different events. And when I do an event that's in this area, in the Hartford area, she generally puts that in her column.
Wow.
So that's certainly a big help there.
It's great to have someone behind you and believing in what you do.
Absolutely.
For sure. I want to ask you, what do you think makes your story connect to an audience where others fail?
Well, I think, again, the impact he had on me, I mean, he really changed my life. I'm a cat person as a result of having had Kitty in my life.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a cat person until I met him. And it wasn't something that happened immediately either. It was something that, we developed this relationship over the course of several months. And so I think I certainly share the emotional impact he had on me in the book. And people, especially pet owners, really can identify with that because they've been through the same kinds of things that I have with their pets, whether it's a cat or a dog. I mean, I've gotten great feedback about my story from not just cat people, but dog people too.
Yeah.
So they can identify with that. They've experienced similar kinds of things that I did, having had Kitty in my life. And so I think that's really how I'm able to connect with readers.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned about pet owners and everything. I want to ask you about branding and having your platform and everything. I'm really going to pick your brain for this one and be really, really profound. I want to ask you, besides pet owners and everything, do you think your book is also, well, can it be categorized as a spiritual journey?
It has been categorized as a spiritual
has, okay.
journey. Yes, it
Because I was going
has.
to say more than just
Yes, it
your
has.
little furry friend, but something where you had somebody inspire you.
Sure.
So that's another thing that you can reach out to that audience like, wow.
Yeah. Well, he really did inspire me. He inspired me. I made a lot of changes over the course of a period of time. It wasn't instantaneous, but I've made a lot
Yeah.
of changes in my life as
Yeah.
a result of having met Kitty.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of my life. Had a real big, strong impact. I can say I'm absolutely a different person having had Kitty in my life.
Wow. Do you have a method of writing? Do you have a method of madness to your writing? Like from going maybe B to C to D, or like not starting from the very beginning, but being in the middle of your story and then having to go back or forward
Oh, yeah,
in
well,
how you write.
certainly when writing, you're constantly going back and
Yeah.
making modifications
Yeah.
and reviewing things and editing things. And I'm currently working on another project. I haven't actually started to write yet. Some could say I have started to write. I've got a notebook filled. Every time a thought comes into my head,
Yeah.
I have a notebook on my kitchen table.
We all do.
And
Yeah.
I put, I'll write a couple of paragraphs, but I actually haven't started sitting in front of the computer yet and putting the story into my computer. But I've written. I have probably half. It's almost like a journal.
Yeah.
So I have probably half of this notebook filled with notes, and
Yeah.
so that's certainly one of the ways that I
Yeah.
have been working toward putting together this next project.
Wow. So as a writer, I tend to go back and forth, and it's never from the beginning. I'd be lucky if that ever happened to me. But it usually starts from the middle and then goes back to the beginning and then realizing how my end is going to be. So I just had to ask because I always ask people about that.
Certainly, writing a book or any story, anything, you're constantly modifying it and making changes to it. And it's always good to have a real strong beginning and a real strong ending.
Yeah. Do you believe a writer's success is luck of the draw or something more?
Well, I think it's probably a combination of things. Obviously, you have to have a good story to start with. If you don't have a good story, then, and I shouldn't necessarily say a story. I mean, some people write, people read for a number of reasons. I would say primarily people read to either learn something, to entertain themselves, as entertainment, or as an escape. And I think that a writer's success comes by either teaching them something, because some people want to learn something,
Yep.
or providing them with a good entertainment experience. So, my book does a number of things, and certainly it's entertaining too, because it's a really good story. But it also helps to teach people the value of a companion animal and how they can help you through difficult times. How certainly working. Pets are a lot of work, so
Yes.
They do require work to
Yeah.
take care of. I'm always cleaning litter boxes and feeding cats. I have a cat that I have to give an insulin shot to twice a day because he's got diabetes. I have a cat that's got a heart condition, so I have to give him a beta blocker pill twice a day.
Jeez.
And yeah, I'm constantly taking care of my cats. But you know, I'm a responsible person. At least I like to consider myself a responsible person. So it's my responsibility to take care of my cats, and so I work hard to do a good job doing that. So certainly, you know, my book can help to teach people the value of, you know, companion animals and how they can, you know, provide assistance and support and love and help people through difficult times.
Yeah, and like I mentioned to you about owning my first guinea pig and everything, that was 32 years ago, and I have had many different ones throughout that house over the years.
Very cool. I have never owned a guinea pig myself, but I didn't have any cats until I first met Kitty. But I grew up having dogs in the house. We always had a family dog.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I've learned from a young age how to care for animals and that animals are important.
Yeah.
And, you know, that it's our responsibility to take care of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I hear those comments people make about, oh, it's just a cat or it's just a dog, I'm not too fond of those.
And besides that, I think the one thing I learned throughout the past 32 years is they all have different personalities.
Oh, absolutely.
There's some that I can remember a whole lot easier than other ones, but they really stick in my mind because of that. And if one of them should pass away, then you can't really replace what you had. You know, that's why I say it's not just a cat. It's not just a dog. They have their own personalities, their own quirks, their own traits and everything. And once they're gone and you try and get another one, it's not the same. It's like you just got to start over and do it with any kind of pet. I mean, I even had a hermit crab, and I cried when it passed away. That's just the way I am.
Sure.
But I mean, every little creature, or whatever, I think teaches you a very important lesson. You know, so look deep inside yourself, and you do learn from them. I've heard from other people, and like you said, for your subtitle of your book, who rescued me, and I rescued him after I rescued him. It's so true, because it's something that people can connect with.
Sure, absolutely. I agree 100%. And I mean, I knew that this story would touch a lot of people. I mean, I knew that I would be able to connect with people, again, as I mentioned earlier, especially pet owners.
Yeah.
So, because everyone's been through the same kinds of experiences with their pets that I have, or similar experiences.
Yeah.
So I certainly knew that there were a number of people out there that I could connect with. They say 4 out of 5 households have at least one pet, and about half primarily identify themselves as a dog household, and about half primarily identify themselves as being a cat household. But there's a lot of overlap between those.
Yeah.
So certainly lots of people have cats and dogs.
Yeah.
And I knew that there would be people out there that I could connect with.
At one point, I really thought I was going to have a cat, too. I was doing a video assignment with the local community college, and we went to I think it was the Vernon Animal Shelter, and I saw a kitty that was just the sweetest thing. I remember she was a calico, and her name was Tennessee, and I thought, if I could have one cat, I think it would be her. I mean, she turned on her charm and everything. I thought, oh, sorry, honey, but I can't. I got too many guinea pigs.
I don't know if I don't know if a cat and a guinea pig would get along that well.
You never know, but I thought, not in the house that I'm at. No, that's not going to work. You know, with other people, it's like, no. I want to move on to the subject of your marketing and everything. As an author, where do you have the most success in selling your book, considering it's for pet owners and pet lovers and cat, you know, just a whole array of spectrum there?
Well, I've been doing it, you know, in addition to going around doing bookstores and libraries, I've also been doing a lot of cat shows and other pet events. Like, for example, several weeks ago, I was at Pet Expo in Philadelphia, and that was a 3-day event. It started at 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon and ran till 5 o'clock on Sunday. And I was down there and sold 80 copies of my book.
Wow.
And so that's, quite a few copies. I've had success selling it all over. I'm actually going to a cat show in Natick, Massachusetts in the next few weeks, and I expect to sell a number of books there. But cat shows, pet expos, bookstores are good too. I've sold a number of copies through bookstores as well. And but that's certainly one of the ways I'm able to get it out in front of pet people, by participating in these cat shows and pet events.
Yeah, because we don't talk about branding and platforms enough, because everybody has sort of a general fiction or something that everyone's going to, be enamored to, but then you have something like this where you can take it to an exact level that you need to, and that's like you said, the pet shows. So I think you've had a ton of success. I've talked to you about this before. You have been everywhere. I mean, as far as authors have gone, I see your name all over the place. I'm like, Shawn Flynn, yeah. As soon as you see the name Kitty, it's like, it's associated with you. That is your book. Because there are other authors I've known that have written books about cats, but I don't know if they've ever been as successful as you, and you really hit on something amazingly great and passionate. I haven't read it yet, but I really give you so much credit for that, because like I said, not everybody can write about their pet. As passionate as we are, we just don't have that story to tell, unless it does change your life. And like I said, it is a spiritual journey. But I think that is tremendous.
Thank you. Just working hard, trying to get the word out, and as you've indicated, we have been all over.
Yeah. You are a independent author?
Yes, I am.
What made you choose that route?
As opposed to traditional publishing?
Yes.
Well, that would have taken a long time. I kind of wanted to, put it out there.
Yeah.
So I created my own publishing brand and self-published.
Abbey Road Publishing.
That's right.
That's ABBE?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not like Abbey Road, like the Beatles.
No. I like that. I'm thinking of like Abbey for pet names and stuff that usually people have. But yeah. How do you do it, like libraries?
I do a number of libraries as well. I've been to a number of libraries. I have an event coming up at the Kent Memorial Library in Suffield, and that was originally scheduled for January, earlier in January, but due to a snowstorm they had to reschedule it.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the second Wednesday night in March, and it starts at 7 o'clock in the evening, and the Kent Memorial Library is located at 61 Filer Place in Suffield.
Okay. I have to ask, because not many authors have the opportunities you do, but how do you get into a bookstore?
Well, you have to solicit the bookstore to carry your book or host you for an author event. And we've actually had a lot of success doing that. I've done author events at, in addition to the many independent bookstores, I've done author events at the big Barnes & Noble stores all over the state. We did an author event this past fall at the Holyoke Barnes & Noble. I did an author event at the Exton Barnes & Noble, Exton, Pennsylvania in December. That was right before the holidays. And we're doing 2 Barnes & Noble stores in Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware, and Newark, Delaware. And that will be in another week and a half or so. So we're going down for the weekend.
Nice.
Very excited about that. Just working hard, trying to get the word out. We're also doing, on March 3rd, we're doing the Barnes & Noble in Millbury, Massachusetts, for a weekend-long event they're hosting called Author Stock.
Author stock, I like that.
Yep, and there's going to be, I think, approximately 30 other authors there
Nice.
over the course of the 2-day event.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be there on Saturday afternoon from 3 to 5. So it's I'm looking forward to it. It should be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Get to talk about my book and the craft of writing and how I got inspired to write my book, things like that.
Yeah. How can anybody pick up your book?
Well, it's available at a number of bookstores. Very locally in the Windsor area, it's available from the Book Club Bookstore and More in South Windsor.
Very good.
Oh yeah, it's a great bookstore. One of my favorites.
Cindy's awesome.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely. It's available from many of the Barnes and Nobles in the state, including Enfield, West Hartford, Waterbury, Milford, and Stamford. It's also available from the Barnes and Noble in Holyoke, Massachusetts. It's available from the Blue Umbrella in Westfield, Massachusetts, and it's available at a couple of bookstores up in Northampton, Massachusetts, Booklink Booksellers and Broadside Bookshop. Now, it can also be ordered from any bookstore. If you just go into a bookstore and they don't necessarily have it on their shelves, they can order it for you. But it's also available through the internet, traditional internet channels as well, like Amazon and other internet booksellers.
So the book is called The Kitty Who Rescued Me After I Rescued Him by Shawn P. Flynn. I want to thank you for being on the show, and much congratulations to you on your success.
Thank you very much,
Shawn.
Tracy.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on your program today.
And what's the name of your cats?
Oh, there's Tigger, Squeakers, Girleen, and Gypsy.
Ah, very nice. And for my guinea pigs, it's George, JC, Hattie, and Henna. This has been Broad Mind. I am T.L. Rotkiewicz. Until then.